13 on your side. Breaking news now.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Elena Holland. We are interrupting our normal streaming programming for a special weather report. There is flooding all across the state and people are told to evacuate in some parts of Newaygo County. Now this comes as the Muskegon River water levels rises. Anyone south of the Croton Dam is being asked to evacuate as public safety workers are trying to clear that area. And we will, of course, be checking in with our teams live across the county with updates on the evacuation. But first, let's get on over to meteorologist Amber Twardy. She's going to give us a look at the current weather conditions. Amber, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Elena, we're still seeing a little bit of rain, a couple of thunderstorms across West Michigan, primarily south of I-96, which is good news considering that we've had most of our rain north of I-96 these past multiple days, and that has resulted in rising flood levels, especially out on the Muskegon River. So we've issued a 13 weather impact alert that is especially aided along by that evacuation order that was ordered for those that are along that Muskegon floodplain, Muskegon River floodplain, that is just downstream of the Croton Dam. So this is mainly going to be in effect for Friday into Saturday, and that's because that's when we're expecting a lot of these rivers to be reaching their crest. That will continue throughout much of the weekend. So flooding still in the forecast as we continue to see more rain by the time we hit Saturday. This is largely going to be an impact for the Muskegon River, but that's not the only spot that is seeing some of these flood alerts that we'll take a look at in just a second here. The phrase to really pay attention to is turn around, don't drown. You've heard us say it again and again every time there's flooding. This really is that phrase that comes up so often, and there's a reason for that. We have seen sinkholes popping up across West Michigan, and that becomes a situation where you simply don't know how deep the water is. You might be driving into floodwaters that you could think is a couple of inches deep, but it can be significantly deeper than that. We saw that car this morning that drove straight into a sinkhole in Newaygo County, and we still are going to be looking at the potential for maybe some roads to get washed out, maybe some more sinkholes because of the amount of flooding that we have seen and that will continue to see over the next couple of days. Here's a look at where some of our rivers stand right now, or rather some of our gauges along the Muskegon River stands right now. Bridgeton currently just over 17 feet, cresting closer to about 20 feet as we head into this weekend. Closer to Newaygo, right now over 16 feet, but expected to get above 18.5 feet. At the Croton Dam, they're not too far off from their crest right now. Crest expected to be at 12.8 feet, and at Everett, looking at a crest that will be exceeding 16 feet as we're heading into this weekend. So here's a look at all these flood alerts that are draped across West Michigan. Almost the entire state is seeing some variety of a flood alert, even this flash flood watch still that's in place for Oceana County. That is specifically as local officials continue to monitor the Hesperia Dam for the potential of failure there. Now, across the region, we're seeing flood watches. That's for pretty much everybody across West Michigan. Southwest Michigan starting to miss out on that, which is some good news. But then we're seeing a lot of these little light blue polygons as well. Those are river flood warnings. So highlighting a couple of those, looking at the White River downstream of the Hesperia Dam because of that potential for dam failure. As we're heading a little bit further south, Muskegon River, that's where we're really going to be keeping a close eye on from the Croton Dam all the way down towards Bridgeton. Now, looking further south of that, Rogue River near Rockford, down towards the Grand River, right around Comstock Park into downtown. That's where still another flood watch, or rather flood warning, has been put into effect, and that extends further south and further east for the Grand River and the Thornapple River too. Now that's because of all the rain we've seen over the past multiple days, but this is just looking at the past 24 hours, and look at some of these totals. They're really impressive. Already over an inch for Holland is what we've seen over the past 24 hours, and we're not done yet as we're still seeing some rain out and about, and even a couple of thunder showers still. Now it is very scattered. There are multiple areas that aren't seeing anything and haven't been seeing anything for a couple of hours now, but here's that line of still a few thunder showers, mainly moving through the Kalamazoo area at this point. This will continue to track further east, and we still are expecting a few more showers and thunder showers into this evening, but it does look like this is really going to be lightening up into tomorrow. Now this has left our temperatures pretty cool throughout much of today. We only topped out close to about 60 degrees this morning, stayed in the 50s throughout much of the day with that cooler air, gloomier skies sticking around, and that has left our temperatures only in the 50s at this point. 58 for Grand Rapids, up to 65 near Kalamazoo. Just generally seeing a lot of 50s, some lower to mid 60s as well, but it is mild, warmer than average compared to this time of year. But after we've had some 70s this week, it is on the cooler side comparatively. Now we do have warmer conditions into our Fridays. We're closing out this week. We will be seeing additional rainfall into the weekend, though, on Saturday, and that will likely make flooding worse. We're looking at into this weekend to be the time when a lot of our local rivers are cresting. Beyond that, that's going to be a fairly strong cold front, which cools us down significantly into the end of the weekend. Much cooler conditions that we can expect into our Sunday. I'll give you a closer look at our extended forecast coming up in just a bit.